Just another good evening. Chilling on the porch, taking in some fresh air, some sunset, and musing on the tube from my phone while sipping on my mushroom coffee. Huh. You know, the longer things go, um, the further you have to fall into the acceptance of what things are. Um, Most people can't do that. What they do is that they accept that that is what has been done. Um, and the question is, do we ever get past the calling it for what it is and talk about um, who the consequences of that revelation actually affect? To whom? And how much do you know these people and what it's all about? Right? This is why I find everything so fucking different and interesting now. It's just like, on one hand, I am pleased to see so many people that um, are thinking in a more libertarian minded manner, which is not good enough for anarchy, but it's a little bit better. Lortist editor. What's going on? So, all the things that, you know, that you hate, it becomes very interesting down the line. Like, I can live with every hardcore disagreeable thing that ended up happening. Um, with the exception of whatever's ongoing. When things are ongoing, then I care on a different level, right? Like conflict in different parts of the world that are presently happening. Those are of focal interest. Um, I have the conflicting feelings about the ice situation. I made many, many, many videos when we were going through the thick of that. What's up, Howard? So I'm trying to stay more on the philosophical side, right? Trying to not be too evocative, but trying to give you some generalities as a framing mechanism, a domestic and a foreign kind of thing, right? I think nations, in their organizing principle, go through what they deem to be necessary determinations. And the big problem is with these necessary determinations is that we don't want to talk about the corrupting parasite that's attached to it. Some of us don't see the parasite. Some of us don't. They see it and they don't see it as a parasite. And then people like me that says, okay, so none of you guys are going to be capable of removing or killing the parasite or whatever. So, let me tell you how to do what you want to do until you figure out how to get rid of the parasite, because we have to use the thing with the parasite to do the things we want to do, such as wake up tomorrow and civilization is in a fine working order. Um, and that we strive every day to make everything extraordinarily fair. Right? The black community is not in an uproar over the latest thing that happened with the guy who fatigued the other guy and then he got killed, and then they sentenced him to a sentence that gives you time to think about how you're going to deal with him in the future, because it's not a life sentence. And you're like, okay, at least I don't have to be on nerves about it for now. And and so you think back to 10 some odd years ago. There's a damn good chance that kid could have gotten off. Like what the fuck is happening in England? And life has to be and do some different things. And the world functions differently now. And despite the ongoing things that I am at war against, what I have at present is a damn good thing. And so how much am I supposed to condemn something as a whole? Right? It puts me at odds with people that I agree with on all the principles. Right? Yes, I know the guys from the island class, and yeah, I know the dudes who put the sad juice in the population, and yeah, I know the people that have those hats, those little hats, and all that shit. I also know several other things, and it takes a lot of heart and resolve to be restrained about the whole thing, right? And like, because I see how things operate with the profane, right? It's like, for instance, in Florida, I heard about one person who got in trouble for the anti-Semitism policy. And, what she said wasn't just some passive, like, racist type of statement. It was like a statement of an intent to do something particular. It's like, geez, man, it's like, forget anti-Semitism. That's just fucking, it's a fucking threat. It's practically a threat. You didn't need an anti-Semitism law for that, right? Um, because that's because you know, you don't hear about too many people, like, you know, a platform may get you in demonetized or something, but that's completely different than the government coming with the fuzz to disrupt what you're doing. Right? I mean, what she said, if she said that about the president of the United States, I mean, that under the right circumstances, that is grounds for a knock on the door from the Secret Service. So, there's a lot of things that we're not going to be happy about, and we don't want to suffer being ruled by inferior people. Inferior people, or perhaps superior people, either. You want to, you know, you want to be, you want to have in charge people that are equal to you. That's kind of the principal idea, right? Which is why we said no kings, no emperors, no lifetimes in office, although FDR fucking pulled that off, but then we said no more of that. And he still had to play the political game to win the election, to do it. And everybody's got to do what they got to do with the election, right? Dealing with the corruption because of X, Y, and Z, and I don't have the time to figure out how to clean up all that shit. I got to work on me before I can work on the United States. Or just my backyard. So, if you were to remove all personalities from all offices of elected persons, and you're just talking about the person in the position, the president, the senator from Massachusetts, right? The whatever. What would you say? Including without the personality of it all, if that person is corrupt, that is in that office, the judgment on the merits of their actions, right? We, you know, we have too much back knowledge on the dirt of so many people that now every argument is underscored by it. Every argument is about, you know, PDF blackmail from the state of the U's, right? That taints and underscores everything. and it's on both sides because the Epstein files proved it was on both sides. Hello, hello. Hold on a second. Oh, what's that say? Hail? Are you saying hails? My eyes are a little. Let me brighten that up. Skull, I think. Shall. And hello. Anyway, hello. Yeah, the people have rejected the nonsense, right? It's like people have control of what's right in front of their face, right? The destruction of flock cameras is proof of this, right? And you know what? We've been okay this whole time before flock cameras, right? Honestly, I didn't see um, 5G. I don't even think I ever fucking. I don't think I've seen a 5G tower yet. Because 5G towers have to kind of be clustered in like 15-minute city areas and stuff, right? It's really a kind of like a 15-minute city tech or like an on campus kind of tech, like if you're on like an office park, um, a company warehouse, or some wide area where you need an internet of things interconnected like that, right? And the flock camera system may also be part of that, right? And a lot of people have noticed that it's the dual reality of it all. The police state is in the ironically considered liberal places, but you have more liberal lifestyle in the more conservative states. Even here in the Northeast, in the blue Northeast, there's far saner and far freer than it is from everybody's testimonies in California, right? California made itself a living nightmare, and I think it's turning itself around now. I heard some things about the election. And it's not so much about the election. It's not really about it at all. Because, like I said, forget about the personalities. It's the energy shift, right? And things are always the best when they're in the in between, right? Before Mom Donnie came to New York, I kind of thought New York was all right and kind of chill. Like, you know, for a city of lost souls as it is, um, things were cool um, post pandemic. Um, I think everybody had been burnt out by the whole thing. Um, and then you had kind of like a reprieve with the ice resistance. Um, but that whole spirit's kind of defunct now, right? And so that was kind of like the in between from like the old guard, um, which was kind of different than what people. It doesn't really fall in the hard left, hard right, the old guard, because a lot of that stuff came from the legacy of Rudy Giuliani. He kind of kept that legacy for a while, right? Bloomberg, like, I knew something was wrong with New York when Bloomberg came around because he he basically petitioned to run for an extra term. You know, New York City politics is a complete like insider system that then just gets thrown at the fucking um, indoctrinated masses going about their transit schedules, right? Like, amazing things were coming out of New York in that period. Um, but the nerve-wracking existence in that city, right? You know, it was all the stuff that was promised to us in the prophetic My Dinner with Andre. Um, one of the absolute best, like, filmed conversations in cinema writing. Just just us just you know, just being enthralled by the story bouncing off the other character while they're eating dinner, just going into the depth of just talking about the difference between the guy who's lived in the five borough experience um, as most of his existence, most of his Dasein, and this other guy who went and did like kind of like the Alan Watts thing. He went around the world. He checked out different cultures and did the whole thing, and was opened up to how other people live and yada yada yada, right? And he learned the big difference between the Americans' perception of this place of freedom and justice and um, respect for rights and stuff, versus the quality of life from all these other places in the world, despite what you've heard on paper about them, right? It's the difference between the lived experience on the ground over a long enough period of time. This is why I go on about, like, plenty of people that can, that have gone to Israel, that know a thing or two about life on the ground, that speak English and talk to you about it. You get a handful of Palestinians that seem to only care to talk to college students. And then they become like the central nexus to radicalize the college students. And, because they're getting their perception of reality from just his testimony. His testimony matters. But, dude, like, if you think I'm a crazy person and I'm that guy in another country talking about my country, wouldn't you want to shut me the fuck up because of all the lies I'm saying about your country? Right? So, like, this guy could be fucking lying about Palestine. Right? Because in his world, he doesn't necessarily see a wrong in a certain thing. Right? You gotta remember, if a Muslim is going along with the whole collective Islam thing, then when the numbers are there, they're going to, they're going to self-actualize because, it's the ecstatic joy of seeing everybody doing the same thing that pleases Allah as they know it, and their loyalty to the book. Especially if they're, devout to a certain mosque or whatever, and that's what they're getting out of their fucking clerics. And if they're not talking in my native tongue, trust cannot be established. And that's pretty fucking simple. Right? Because it's because you have the free speech, and if you are a foreign person rallying ill against the hosting nation, I mean, like, if I'm the father of the house, I'm kicking you the fuck out of the house. You're a threat to my daughter and my wife and my children. And that's why the protesting is going away. Right? Everybody just has a responsibility to get on with their life in a good manner in the world, with all sorts of loads of the ability to be fun and free and everything else, and just no dangers from anything, and you're a responsible and competent person, and all the things, all the fucking things. At the end of the day, I've seen more quiet agreement. Um, there's an invisible victory. There just is. Um, it comes from the integrity and the strength of what everyone has been capable of saying and leaning into the psyche in the world. This is why I used to call my show on Revolution Radio the Ghost in the Machine, when I reinvented myself a certain time back then. I had this whole cool intro with the English dub from the Ghost in the Machine. Um, I think it was in the trailer or whatever. Like it was a whole cool thing, right? And the whole, that was the whole idea, is that I was the this ghost on the internet, breaking the programming and things like that. And you know what? For someone who has been this unknown or this unpopular, even, I know that I've accomplished several missions. And at the same time, there's still a lot of personal missions that I have to deal with, right? Because now my modus operandi is different, right? The mission is different. I don't need to be saying the things that I said back then, right? You look at fucking Styx Hexenhammer. I think I've mentioned this before in commenting. The symbol of the Ouroboros. You're seeing it now, right? Styx Hexenhammer is, you're watching him be devoured by his own symbolism, and it's manifesting as an alcoholic demon. Um, and it's very interesting. I didn't follow him enough, because before he was losing it, I didn't think he'd ever lose his shit like that. I figured he would just, keep on doing his thing and enjoying the success of it, and whatever. But um, he did what he did, right? And when a guy like that does it, um, all the trad chads, all the fucking crusaders, all the fundamentalists out there, they get to now hoist um, what Styx has made of himself and see, kids, don't fuck with the devil. Don't fuck with spirits. They're all of Satan. Look at what the devil is doing to this guy, punishing him in real time. Come to Jesus, Styx. Come on now. You're now Pearly Gates Blessing Feather 777. How do we like that? Pearly Gates Blessing Feather 777. There we go. There. um right, because I do my magical thing, and I don't use my magic to cheat. I have my own struggles to get through. This magic is it is all about working on me, though. But I'm not bringing anything in to bring division within myself. All of this is evocative and finding the way, finding my way, with a little bit of a here and a there from a spirit guide. And I've talked about the relationship I want to have with them in prior times in this video, right? This gets to Abramelin the Mage. Styx likes to do all those occult reviews. Styx, did you do Abramelin the Mage? Like, I've barely gotten through it, but as you can see, in the last thing I did, you had, where he finds out that this magical order's got all sorts of people in it. There's an atheist here. There's a pagan here. There's a Christian here too, right? There's like a small. I think there's one or two other people. I don't think he said there was a Muslim. Which that doesn't fucking surprise me. Right. Yeah. Well, paganism is a broad term. It's a generally broad term, but it seems to be pagan and heathen seems to be, because I guess that's a English word for it. It is also a general scope for pre-Abrahamic gods of the men of the North, right? Amongst that common tongue. And that's effectively what you're looking at. And how you doing, Firehammer? Heathenry, like, I don't know. Words be words. You're saying that you don't know what heathenry means, Howard? How long have you been fucking listening to me and you don't know what the word heathen means? You fucking listen to Greyhorn podcast? You don't know what it means to be a heathen? And I don't really I'll say that amongst, like, general colloquial understandings, right? But I wouldn't, in personal conversation, like, if people want to really, like, kind of, like, get to know my practice, like, yeah, I said heathen. I don't really, like, I just say that so we understand, but, because I do think that heathen, I feel like heathen on a deeper level, which a lot of people don't want to deal with a deeper level, and that's okay. I'm not trying to make anybody feel stupid. Has its relationship to Hithrun in the Eddas, right? And she is a evil Jotun who is important to Golveg in the circumstances of the Aesir Vanir War. Paganism and heathenry are labels. I sometimes vibe and jive with them, and sometimes I think they're dumb. Well, don't think of it that way. Just as you get a stronger command of the language and the understanding of things that the words apply to, you'll intuitively know better what are the right words to say. Right? Somehow that's a big thing that I've picked up that's made me capable of being able to stream so much because of what I can fucking pull into recall and have the depth of meaning of words to put together in a short and understandable fashion. Or sometimes it's a little bit long-winded, but as they say, let them cook, right? So I want to feel, very good about the existential future. I'm more hopeful than not. And I think that the pandemic fucked everything up for them. Because they killed enough people to, I think, prevent a proper World War III. Not wars, just a World War III. Because of who died and how many from what sectors of people that have changed all sorts of ideas and attitudes and sentiments about everyone's perception of the world and of their relationship with government and other institutions and businesses and things. Hey, what's up, Intergalactic? Everyone's tipping their hands, truth be told. All right. And at the same time, they didn't kill enough of us to control us. And too many places flipped the script and chose to be free anyway. And most importantly, America, despite who was in office by the end of the pandemic, also wanted to be free. Economic woes, other than that, there's been a new spirit of things in the country. The way the script had flipped, there was a passage of power, generational transfer of power passage happening, and we're kind of living through another chapter of that now with Schrodinger's McConnell and the certain passing of Senator Graham. And Is the power that put them in charge still going to have power moving forward? And why? One way or the other, I think we're continuing to have the term limits movement happen. Be a good thing. Honestly, I want to repeal the popular election of senators. I think we were lied to. They said, "Oh, it would eliminate corruption." It's like, no, you put money into politics. Now there's way more corruption. The way it reorganized everything, the way it created state-wide economic engines that then would have crossover with presidential elections and gubernatorial elections. The consequences of popular election stole power, gave it to corruption, as opposed to it's a process and procedure appointment selected by our state government of the most qualified statesmen that you could send to Washington. And then you kept your congressman in check about that issue. And it's much easier to keep your eye on a handful of people that could be bribed instead of hundreds of people that can be bribed. When you open up that many access ports for favors. All right, anyway. It was a good chat, and I'm going to see if I can move some things around and try and at least finish Abramelin the Mage using StreamYard or something. Because I don't know if I'll ever be able to use OBS on this computer again. But for now, StreamYard's maybe working, but it seems to get a little bit worse every other day, so who knows? I may not have a computer right now. I'll just turn it on and it just won't fucking, it'll just shit the bed or something. All right. Erwin Curtis, Mick Foley. Oh, come on, Mick Foley. Maybe like super young, like what? Like what was Mick Foley? Like early WCW or backyard wrestling or something, like early Mick Foley before he gained any, because he'd been fat for a long ass time, right? Early Mick Foley. Maybe. Listen, I'm not gonna say who you all know that I really look like, because we probably share a similar lineage, and he's one of the biggest deals in the business, so I'm just not going to say his name, because how dare I? Anyway. But if this is your first time here, you can go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. If you're just into guys that remind you of Mick Foley, I'm your guy, I guess. My channel handles a number of things. It has a lot to do with occult studies, ancient history, esoterica, conspiracy stuff, world affairs, human psychology and personal development, magic, scientific things. You see? See? I didn't have to say it. I didn't have to say it. That's right. That's right. You see, Triple H, who everybody knows is Paul Michael Levesque, is of I believe French Canadian descent, which means that he is probably a Norman like myself. And so this is the Norman, which could also be a Roman face because of Rome's relationship to Gaul. Right? So yeah, Triple H. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later.